All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, September 20th. We have a full MLB slate to dive into today. Like always, I'm going to go through each and every game as we talk about them. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with myself, if you do want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment. I told you guys last night we were going to bounce back, and we did. A 3-0 sweep night. I want to fire off the money gun. We're going to put it down. We had a reverse sweep the night before, and we got to keep it like legitimate around here, right? I can't just celebrate a 3-0 sweep when we got smacked in the face by the dustpan the night before. So just know that that is hot. That is ready to go off. But I don't really like the idea that we got a reverse sweep 2 nights ago, and then last night we swept. Pretty much we're even now, right? So just know that we're ready. We were ready to pull the trigger, just couldn't do it. A 3-0 night. We can pump in some crowd noise for the bounce back, though. Guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. Let's try and do it 2 nights in a row here. And before we do jump into the slate, I want to talk to you guys about OddsJam. If you have not checked out OddsJam yet, you need to do so today. The amount of tools on this site is absolutely crazy. And if you use the link in my pinned comment, you'll get 7 days free. But that's not all. If you use the code GUYBOSTON when signing up for a subscription, you can get 25% off your first month. That is literally a quarter off of your first month. Go check it out, guys. That link, again, is in the pinned comment. A plethora of tools. A positive EV betting tool. A fantasy optimizer if you're on Prize Picks. A sportsbook comparer screen. An arbitrage betting tool. They literally have it all and help people like you and me beat the books. Go check out OddsJam. Again, that link is in the pinned comment. Now let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 here. We're looking at Atlanta taking on Philadelphia. Atlanta finally gets a win yesterday. They win that one 9-3, and you kind of felt like they were going to win that, right? Like, there's no chance. We even saw a comment or multiple comments yesterday of like, no way Atlanta just continues to lose games. Like, it doesn't even make sense. So good to see them get back into winning baseball. I like them again today. You're looking at -145 over on BetMGM. Bryce Elder going up against Aaron Nola. Bryce Elder has been a little shaky over his last 5 starts here. Still with a 2.4 ERA, and the team is 4-1. Aaron Nola seemingly turning it around as of late. He has 1 throwout start where Milwaukee absolutely crushed him, but other than that, he's been fairly consistent here. Last time he pitched against Atlanta looked pretty good. The time before that, he absolutely got shelled. So you have a guy that, you don't really know what you're gonna get. Box of chocolates going into this game, but I love Bryce Elder in this spot against the Phillies here. Last time he pitched against them was late June. He pitched 7 innings of 3-hit baseball, 0 earned runs, 14 pitches per inning, only 2 walks and 6 Ks, and we know that this Atlanta team is better, and that's not to knock the Phillies. The Phillies have been playing pretty good baseball as well in their last 5 or so. I think they've won 3 of their last 5, including 1 against this Braves team. But this Atlanta team is this Atlanta team, and if you've been watching baseball all year, you know they are the best team in baseball. So give me the Braves here on the money line. Total sitting at 9.5. Yesterday we saw this game end at 9-3, which would obviously be a total of 12. I do think that there's a chance that they kind of put up a bunch of runs again. I can't really knock either one of these offenses, so I'm going to take the over as well, 9.5. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that does end up becoming a final play. And guys, I almost forgot our ride of the day, though I bet Wara, who was the ride of the day, wishes that we did forget it here, but he had the team total over for Washington, 4.5 here. They finish at 4, and they could have gotten extra runs too. That's a tough beat, but if you guys do want to be the ride of the day and get a shout out in next video, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I'm picking 1 pick, jumping on board with your pick, and giving you guys a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you lose like we did today, you got to face the womp womp. If you do catch a dub, we'll celebrate it, we'll talk about it, and the shout out will be that much better. But yeah, shout out to Waro here, even though we did have a close loss there. I love the rationale. Uranus stinks. I had him in a couple Prize Pick slips too. Didn't really work out that way, but nonetheless, guys, use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Let's get to the second game. We have Bailey Ober and the Minnesota Twins taking on Hunter Green and the Cincinnati Reds. Twins cashed for us yesterday as they win that game 7-0. It's not like they're dominating the series. They lose game 1 of that series 7-3. So both teams have got one off the other pretty easily so far in this series. I think Bailey Ober is a little bit more trustworthy against this Cincinnati team here. Both these pitchers coming from the right side. The only concern here is that both of these teams kind of stink batting righties, but I'll take the better team batting righties in their last 10 here. Minnesota Minnesota batting 224 against righties. It gets a little better if you look at the last 5 up to 250, but in the last 10 for Cincinnati, batting 189 against righties. So even if these pitchers go out there and do their thing, I still think that Minnesota's offense has that much of an edge. So I'm going to lean towards Minnesota on the money line. You can get it at -105 over on DraftKings right now. I would think that these odds would be more favored in Minnesota's direction, so I'm not going to lie. A little skeeved out by that. It seems like it could be a trap. Cincinnati is at home, so I understand it. But yeah, I do think that there's a level of, okay, I thought Minnesota would at least be like -120-ish, but this is pretty much a pick 'em today. In terms of a total, we're looking at 9 runs. We've seen, both teams have scoring outbursts so far in this series, but the other team hasn't really been there. I think that neither team is going to outburst today. Again, they're both batting pretty poorly against righties, even though that's been the case for a couple games in the series. But nonetheless, I do like the under here. I think that, this could be sort of like a 4-3 type of a game where neither team goes off, both teams show up, but in a minimal way. So I'll take the under as well as Minnesota on the money line. All right, Washington taking on Chicago for game number 3 of the slate. Right now, Washington slightly favored at home, -122 over on BetMGM. Chicago getting the loss yesterday. On the mound today for them today is going to be Michael Kopech going up against Josiah Gray for Washington. Both these guys have let up a decent amount of runs. Josiah Gray's looked okay, whereas Michael Kopech has some blow-up spots. Most notably, I think he got shelled by Colorado, right? Just under, a month ago or so. But I do think that there could be some value in Michael Kopech today. I think that, he is more of a talented pitcher in the last 10. The Sox are batting a little bit better against righties as well. And these two teams, let's not get it twisted, they kind of stink. They could flip-flop this series all day long. Chicago wins game 1 of this series 6-1. Washington bounces back with a 4-3 win. I do think that, these are two teams that are struggling. Even though I would say Washington is a better team, and I don't know if I should say by far, but they are a better team. I still think that Chicago here on the money line could be a play. I don't think either one of these makes it into the final play. Let me be clear about that, and I really don't even have a read on the total. I don't want to lie to you guys whatsoever about that. 9, if this was sitting at 8, I'd probably take the over, I guess, because it's a lower number. But now that it's 9, I'm like, well, what was I going to think? 8.5 runs were going to be scored in the game. Like, I don't know what went through my brain. So we're just going to pass up on this altogether. And guys, before we continue on with the slate, I wanted to let you know about our NFL model. We might even do a series for it, but the way to get access to that is by becoming a baller, a channel member, clicking the join button below the video. It's $2.99 a month. We've had a bunch of you guys rocking with us. You're getting MLB models every single weekday, right? The NFL model is going to be probably one of the better models that we've built just overall, and from a look simplicity and just the data that we've dumped in perspective. I've been working day and night trying to bring this thing to life. My goal is having it by week 3. We're that close. I don't know if we'll have it by week 3, but if you do want to support the channel, again, click join, become a baller today. $2.99 a month. You get access to the models that we make, and we also have a model building series. It's for the NBA, but can be applied to other sports. A 7-part series for that, for ballers only. It's a great way to support the channel. And again, that MLB model has helped you guys this season. I'm assuming and hoping, if we can trust the data, that the NFL model will as well. But it's a great other tool to put in your research. A lot of sites and whatnot will charge you like $100 a month for their projections and everything like that. $2.99 a month for all of the sport models that we build, I think, is a fairly good deal. So, and it's a way of me showing my appreciation for you guys, literally taking money out of your pocket and handing it to the channel in support. So click that join button. We also have a link in the description if you do want to become a baller today, but certainly go check it out, guys. That model is going to be really, really helpful for all of us in the NFL season. Now let's get to game number 4. Texas squeezes out the win. They go up early, and then all of a sudden, I think I saw it. It was like 4-2, and I'm like, oh no, they're gonna lose, aren't they? If you missed yesterday's video, I literally stapled this as a possible Texas ban game, and if they lost, I would not be betting them for the rest of the year. And they're a team that I do like a lot, so that would have hurt. But they pull out the 6-4 win for us today. They are pitching Gray on the mound, going up against Brian Bayo. Gray has kind of struggled as of late. He's only given 4 innings ish and letting up about 3 runs over that stretch. Brian Bayo still doing his thing. He's going deep into games, letting up 2-3 runs. I don't know if this becomes a final play, because I do think that, you know, this was such a big game. If it wasn't for you, it was for me last night watching this as a Red Sox fan, kind of rooting for Texas for the channel purposes. It's a little weird, but we might kind of pass in this game altogether, because I could see either team winning it tonight. I think the value and the smart bet is on the Red Sox backing Brian Bayo here for plus 120 odds, if I'm being honest. I don't think that Texas is worth the minus 142 today over on FanDuel, so that's going to be my lean, but we might pass up on this game. I don't mind the over. It started out at 9. It's now 8.5, I think, over on Caesars, but 9 on FanDuel, so I'm sure that'll either come down or move up fairly quickly. So yeah, go check that out if you do like the over. You can get a better line over on Caesars. But yeah, in terms of leans here, I'm leaning Red Sox on the money line and then the over. But like I said, this was a pretty stressful game last night. I can't just necessarily round up and bet against Texas tonight, can I? Am I overthinking it? Probably, but yeah, give me the Red Sox on the money line as well as the total over. Keep an eye on the pin comp to see if that does become a final play. All right, Kansas City taking on Cleveland. Kansas City is working them right now. They win 6-4 game 1. They win 7-6 game 2. I don't really get it, because I think this Kansas City team, and they do, like, I don't think that they stink. They do stink. And this Cleveland team is kind of a 500 team. Like, I do think I pegged them as a better team than Kansas City. Not looking like that right now. Kansas City now trying out Zach Greinke, who has the big name, and he hasn't pitched all that poorly over his last 5. Going up against Lucas Giolito, who does kind of stink. He had a good start against Texas, I think. Yeah, it was the last start when they swept Texas, but I think that Cleveland bounces back here, but they have the worst pitcher on the mound. They haven't looked that good overall, but offensively, they've been there, right? Like, they're putting up a decent amount of runs. They put up 4 in game number 1 and then 6 in game number 2. It's just that Kansas City is kind of going off. So we need that Kansas City offense to cool down if this is to become, can't speak, if this is to become a final play. The total's sitting at 9 right now. I think I'm going to go against everything that I think is going to happen, or has been happening. I'm going to lean towards the under as well as Cleveland. I think that this game finally returns to like what it should be, which is Cleveland winning the games and then being low scoring games. Right now, Kansas City's winning the games, and they've been high scoring games, a 10-run game and then a 13-run game. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, give me the Guardians as well as the under today. All right, Houston taking on Baltimore. We don't have any odds on the graphics, but we do have opening odds now. We have Houston minus 112 on the money line, Baltimore minus 104, and the total sitting at 9 runs. Just like yesterday, I think I'm going to take a peek at the over here yet again. Do I wish it was 8.5? Yes. Could I see me buying it down to 8.5 for some extra juice? Yes, I do like the over. I think that Kyle Bradish on the mound for the Orioles and Christian Javier on the mound for Houston. Do they scare me a little bit? Also, yes, but I do think that these are two high-powered offenses. In their last 5 games here, you have the Houston Astros batting .315 against righties, averaging 1.6 home runs and a 6.8 runs per 9 rate with a .398 on base percentage. If I lost you in numbers there, those are all good numbers. And then you have Baltimore here, .316 on base percentage, averaging 1.6 home runs per 9 against righties, 9.4 hits per 9, and then 6.6 runs per 9 with a .280 average. These guys, even though they're decent pitchers, and they haven't been letting up a boatload of runs as of late, you still have 2 offenses that are cooking. Give me the over 9 in this game. May buy it down to 8.5. I'll obviously post the odds and where I got that in the pinned comment if we do it. In terms of a money line play, I'm kind of stuck in between here. I'm stuck in between. I'm going to go with Houston just because they've lost 2 games here so far to start this series, and I think that they at least pull one out in this spot. All right, Oakland taking on Seattle. We did ban Seattle a while back, but now this series is starting to look better, and I have a proposition for Seattle here. So I do think that they're going to win this game. I can't bet it. We banned them. I got to stick to my original guns. But if they win this game by 3 runs, so minus 2.5 on the run line, I think that they start to work themselves out of ban territory. Let me know in the comments if that is fair. Just say, yeah, it's fair for Seattle. I don't know. Respond to that question because, you know, when you ban a team, you got to stick to it, but then all of a sudden they're playing the Oakland A's and stuff, and you're like, itching for, come on now. Like in these 2 games, 5-0, 7-2, they are the better team, especially they had Luis Castillo on the mound yesterday, and I was like, I can't do it, can't pull the trigger, they've wronged me so much, I can't just go back to it, right? But if they win this game by 3 runs, I think they start to work their way out of the ban territory for me. That's like their get out of jail card, not for free, you got to do it for 3 runs though. So we'll keep an eye on that. In terms of what I am actually looking at in this game, I don't mind the over yet again. I've leaned that both ways, both times this series so far. far, and it didn't come through game number 1. Yesterday just barely got through. We're sitting at 8 right now. I don't mind the over here. We do need Oakland to kind of start scoring some runs, which this is what they do. They'll go on little stretches of scoring a decent amount of runs, and then a bunch of games in a row they give you 1 or 2, right? Or 0, like they did in game 1. But hopefully in this game, last game of the series, they are able to put up 3-4 runs, which I think is going to contribute heavily to that over. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we end up rolling with that. And remember that proposition I made with Seattle here. If they win by 3 or more runs tonight, they start. I'm not saying they're unbanned, but they start to work their way out of banned territory. I know a bunch of people watching are like, why are you even banning a team? But because we're having fun, okay? If they're in the doghouse, they're in the doghouse. I get that that shouldn't matter, and you want to be negative Nelly and Debbie down here, but it's fun, all right? We're just having some fun here. They're banned. They got to do something to get out of the ban, all right? That's all it is. And speaking of being a Debbie Downer, this is a good opportunity. I was going to wait till later on in the video, but to plug the merch, guys. If you want to pick up some Fade Me merch, head over to fademe.store. We got a bunch of cool stuff on the site right now. We just launched a couple new products. We have the Don't Be a Guppy hoodie. A bunch of you guys were asking for this. We have it in black, navy, purple, which is pretty fire, green, and then we also have it in white. We also made it in a t-shirt as well. Different colors here. I really like the seafoam green as well. But yeah, guys, if you do want to pick this up and support the channel, go ahead, fademe.store. Don't Be a Guppy tee, and again, we have it in the hoodie. That white one's pretty awesome, but we have tons of stuff on the site. We just launched a bunch of new hoodies. This Fade Me Athletics hoodie is amazing. The Fade Me Retro hoodie, I have mine coming right now. I had to get that right away. And then we obviously have the Hang On to Summer with the Fadecation collections. Just some party button-up day drinking type shirts. There's more to come on that collection as well. But yeah, guys, if you do want to support and pick up some merch, fademe.store. I'll put a link in the pinned comment. And yeah, excited to get those Don't Be a Guppy hoodies and tees live, because we got a bunch of those, a bunch of comments on those. So I think it should be a pretty big one for us. And yeah, people will see that as you're walking. They're like, I get it, but what does it even mean? Like, no one wants to be a guppy, right? But what does it mean? But yeah, guys, PSA, don't be a guppy. A lot of guppies on the channel lately, and don't be a guppy, or at least be a nice guppy, right? Like, there's people that hate me, and then it's like, you know what, whatever, I still watch you every day. You're entertaining enough. And I'm like, you know what? They don't boo nobodies. Thank you. But let's go ahead and get back to the slate here. We are looking at Arizona taking on San Francisco here. In yesterday's matchup, Arizona gets the win 8-4. I do think that Arizona probably, is a better team, but it's a pretty slight margin here. Logan Webb on the mound for San Francisco today, going up against Merrill Kelly. I think I'm going to take the flyer on San Francisco, and it's not much of a flyer at all. I do wish that these odds were better. I know it's not on the graphics, so I'll tell you. The total sitting at 7.5, and the line here, Arizona -112 on the money line, and then San Francisco for odds -104. I think that San Francisco does pull one out today. Arizona has won 4 games in a row, and I think it's about time that they kind of drop one, if that makes any sense at all. Just kind of looking at and trying to spot the regression. I could be wrong. I'm gonna put this at like a 63% confidence level that they do drop one here today. Like Logan Webb, the team has not been giving him much run support other than a couple games. Actually, just one game. I think it was against Colorado. But other than that, in his last 5 starts, he has a 2-run game from them. This isn't even while he's pitching. This is game overall. So like, talk about run support. 1 run, 0 runs, and 2 runs when he's pitched in his last 5 games. So the team is 1-4 when in his last 5, but not all his fault, right? So give me the Giants. In terms of a total, 7.5 seems just a little bit too low for me. We saw a game in which the pace was not all that up there yesterday, and it resulted in an 8-4 game. So I'll take the over 7.5 here today as well. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that becomes a final play, like I say all the time. Well, San Diego pulls it out again. They win 2-0 here. Cover the run line. We did have a lean on that. Could not get myself to pull the trig, but they do win 2-0 here. That means that they've covered the run line in what was it? I think that's actually like 5 straight games for them, or 6 straight games for them, as winning by 2 runs, not even just favorites, which is pretty impressive. So they are on a streak. I don't know how long we can trust it for. Chase Anderson on the mound today for Colorado, going up against Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo has struggled in his last couple starts here, coming off a 4 1/3 innings pitch with 6 earned runs against Houston, and he followed it up with a 3 earned run game with 2 home runs let up against Oakland. So he has 2 starts in a row that haven't looked all that great. I'm hesitant, but they are the better team. I'm going to lean towards San Diego on the run line here for -125 over on DraftKings. I don't love the spot. I don't love the odds. I don't think this becomes a final play, but that is going to be something that we keep at a lean. Total sitting at 9 right now. I got to look at the under. We've seen San Diego absolutely pop off, right? But only one game in their recent games here as another team kind of popped off against them, and it was Colorado in game number 1. I don't necessarily see Colorado doing that again. So even if San Diego pops off again, I think their pop off is going to be like 4 or 5 runs because I don't think that offense is all that great. So give me the under as well. I think that it's going to be like, if we're looking at a 5 game, I think it's going to be like a 5-2 type of a game. Miami taking on the New York Mets here. Miami bounces back yesterday. They catch a 4-3 win today. They have Yuri Perez on the mound. Right now, Miami minus 118 on the money line. The Mets are sitting at even odds over on FanDuel. Total sitting at just 7 runs. Kodai Senga on the mound for the Mets here. Both these guys have been pitching fairly well, which is why that total is way down there. But I'll say this, I don't really care. That total is way too low for professional baseball players to go out there and not even give that a chance. So in terms of leans, now, do I have the balls to make it a final play? Not necessarily sure, because I get why that total's down there, but I'm looking at a game in which 7 is such a low total. I have to lean towards the over. And I also like Miami at home here. Yes, Senga is a good pitcher. He had a shutout game. 10 Ks over 6 innings, 0 earned runs against Arizona just in his last start. But I got to trust where Miami's been. Trust the Miami offense as well. I do think that they are batting really well. In their last 5 here, batting .311 against righties with a .401 on base percentage. Give me them on the money line here. And then, like I said, the total slightly lean towards the over. All right, Tampa Bay taking on the Angels. Right now, Tampa Bay minus 220 on the money line. Total sitting at 8. I guess we can take a peek at Tampa Bay on the run line yet again. Even odds. I think that there's some value there. Aaron Savale on the mound. I do have a soft spot for him. I think he's a really good pitcher. Slightly underrated, but he's been pitching sort of right where he's been rated as of late. 5 innings, 3 earned runs is what you're expecting out of him. So if you're going to say that the Angels are going to give 3 runs through 5 innings, it does make sort of that run line lean a little bit tough. But nonetheless, we're going to roll with it here. We got the Tampa Bay, I do think is a way better team, obviously. They're finally starting to kind of piece it together. They dropped a couple against Baltimore, but they've still won 7 of their last 10 games. So give me them on the run line. Total sitting at 8 runs. Over. Again, kind of thinking that Savale is going to let up 3 runs himself, meaning I think Tampa Bay can put up a decent amount, and then maybe the Angels get 1 in later innings, but I don't really love the over here. I hope that Savale can go out there and deal, because I do like him as a pitcher. All right, Blue Jays taking on the Yankees here. Yankees won game number 1 of the series. Toronto in 7-1. Now Toronto has Kevin Gausman on the mound, who obviously we know he is a stud pitcher. Not to say he's been lights out as of late. He has not, but we know he's good. Going up against Michael King. And speaking of a guy that's been lights out, his last 5 starts here are .6 ERA. But I don't want to get fooled by that. We cannot get fooled by that. Minus 115 odds for Toronto is going to be my lean here in terms of the money line, because Kevin Gausman is that good. Though I do think that this Yankees offense, has its ups. It definitely has its downs as well. And in their last 10 here, they're batting 187 against righties. Kevin Gausman happens to pitch from the right side, and he happens to be a stud. So I'll take the under here as well as the Toronto Blue Jays on the money line. All right, it's been eating at me. It's been long enough. We didn't do it at the beginning of the video, but come on. Let's celebrate the 3-0 night last night. A sweep. Let's go. Let's go. I wanted to keep it civil. I wanted to keep it humble. But we got to celebrate the sweeps when we got them, even if we have a bad night the night before. So we did it late in the video. Go ahead and comment money gun if you guys are sticking around for that. But I'm just watching it on my desk, and I'm like, come on, just got to pull the trigger once. Shout out to the sweep last night, guys. Obviously, I admit that we had a bad night 2 nights ago, so it's not like the sweep puts us over the top or anything. But we got to celebrate the wins when we got it right. Stop and smell the damn roses. I don't think we've ever, referred back to a night and recapped it again. So there's a first on the channel. But if you are still watching, make sure to comment money gun, because we did see that. People won't know what that means if they didn't make it this far, because we did bring it out earlier in the video, but then we put it away, right? So comment money gun if you guys are still watching. Next game here we have, and I hate the one negative of that, right? Especially when I didn't want to do it. Now I got like 10 minutes of cleanup afterwards. We got the Cubs here taking on Pittsburgh. Cubs, heavy favorites in this one, minus 178. Total sitting at 8.5. And I do apologize for a lot of the graphics being missed. We woke up early today and got this screenshot, so and filled it out. So didn't have some odds when we did it, but that is just the grind that we go through. Right now, Cubs and Pittsburgh pretty much struggling, but the Cubs have a big win yesterday, 14-0. We don't know who's pitching for Pittsburgh yet, and Justin Steele's on the mound for the Cubs. So I think that, minus 170-ish odds is fair regardless of who Pittsburgh trots out. So I'm going to look at the Cubs here on the money line. Total sitting at 8.5. I'm also going to take a peek at the under. Justin Steele is that good, and he's coming off a bad start against Arizona. Like, he's not going to have 2 of those in a row. I think he's going to pitch fairly well today. All right, St. Louis taking on Milwaukee. Milwaukee got back to what they should be doing. Obviously, St. Louis was just beating teams that we didn't necessarily think that they would beat. Hauser on the mound for Milwaukee. He's got a 2.8 ERA over his last 5, going up against Zach Thompson, who also has a 2.8 over his last 5 here. But this Milwaukee offense, head and shoulders above the St. Louis offense. In their last 10 against lefties, Thompson being a lefty, they've averaged 6 runs per 9, 299 average with a 373 on base percentage. St. Louis going up against righties. Hauser is a righty, 201 average over their last 10, 3.4 runs with a 294 on base percentage. And it just looks, it just doesn't look all that great. Like, those numbers next to each other make you have to lean towards Milwaukee. The only thing I'll say here is there's a trap. It's something smells like a trap. We got minus 108 is a pick 'em for both of these teams. In fact, if you want to look at the best odds out there, minus 105 for DraftKings over there for or minus 105 for the Brewers over on DraftKings, minus 108 are the best odds for FanDuel. So technically, you want to look at multiple books. Brewers are actually the underdog in this game, which is kind of crazy. Smells like a trap, might be a trap. I still think the Brewers are the better team. Total sitting at 8.5 right now. We saw a 7-3 game yesterday and a 1-0 game in game number 1. Those are way too different for me to really have a pace or a pulse on what's going on in this series. So I'm going to take a pass on the over. Apologies. Or on the total altogether. Apologies. You know what? Screw it. Maybe I just said over. It's like a Freudian slip, right? Take the over. 8.5. There we go. That's how you sports bet. That's not how you do it. Last game of the slate, we have the Dodgers taking on the Tigers. I think obviously the Dodgers are the better team. Reese Olson, though, on the mound for the Detroit Tigers. He's actually looked pretty good, and the Dodgers haven't looked all that great. Bobby Miller hasn't looked all that great. I will say, sitting at an 8.5 total right now, a 3-2 game yesterday. Yesterday, I do think that this could be a spot for an over. Like, I think the Detroit Tigers could put out a couple more runs than they're used to. And then you have, just because Bobby Miller has been struggling as of late, and then you have Reese Olson, who's a good pitcher, but I do think this Dodgers offense is obviously legit. So I'll take the over in this game. Don't really love a side just because of the odds. But yeah, give me the over in this spot. And guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Make sure to check out the sponsors, Odds Jam. Make sure to check out the merch, all that good stuff, guys. Become a baller on the channel. Helps us support us and grow and continue to make the best in class quality videos. So yeah, thank you guys very much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.